Alright, so I'm going to quickly show you here how to make a pie chart using OpenOffice. So using the data that we've been using through other tutorials here, let's just say I want to create a pie chart showing the proportion of the position players in Major League Baseball that year. So again, I'm going to highlight my data that I'm going to use and go to my chart wizard just like I did before. Click on the chart button up here. But this time I'm going to choose a pie graph. Okay, and there's a few different styles of pie graphs here. There's the exploded pie graphs, there's ones that are donut styles. Let's just make a standard one for today. So I'll choose my standard pie chart again, avoid the 3D look, we don't really want that. Push next. We've already have our data selected, so let's just move on to the data series. Now, pie charts are best used to show proportions, so I'm going to want the percentages in this case. So I'm going to want the relative frequency. I'll get rid of the regular frequency here. And then at this point, you can start creating your title. So I'm going to put positions in National League in 2005. Okay, there's no X and Y axes here. You can sort of see a preview of how it's going to look. For this particular type of graph, you might find a legend very, very useful if you have a lot of colors going on. But we can decide to get rid of it later if you want. Let's just push finish and take a look. Now the only thing here is that this is a very nice pie chart. It's not really labeled very well, right? There's not a lot going on here in terms of being able to easily read it, because you always got to keep referring to the legend. And if this were printed in black and white, for example, the colors might be very, very hard to see. So to quickly add labels here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on the graph, and you see where it says insert data labels. We're going to click on that. And now you're going to see that's actually going to add the percentages for each one. So while this is all well and good, it still doesn't solve the problem that if we were to print this in black and white, we wouldn't necessarily be able to match up the colors very well. What we can do is here, we can still right click again and go to format data labels. There's a lot of other things we can do in here. So you could change the format of the numbers. If you want to add or remove decimal places, you could do that. You can also add more information to your labels as well. So if we choose show legend key, for example, okay, one thing that would do is it would add the particular color here referring to the key over there. The other thing that we could do, if we go back to this screen, we can actually show the category itself. So if we do that, you'll actually see it says, hey, outfielder 18.91%, so you don't necessarily have to refer to the legend. Okay, you may not need both the labels and the legend, so maybe at this point, if you decide you have this, you can go back into it and delete the legend because you may not need it anymore. But again, it's your graph. You just want to make sure it's easy to read. So in this particular case, I would find it useful to have the labels around the outside of the chart. You might find for some graphs that's not really feasible because the categories just take too long to write out. They take up too much space. But play around with the settings for whatever graph you decide to make, and just make something that's nice and easy to read.